Hi, this is Joe from Vanta. In today's digital world, compliance regulations are changing constantly, and earning customer trust has never mattered more. Vanta helps companies get compliant fast and stay secure with the most advanced AI, automation, and continuous monitoring out there. So whether you're a startup going for your first SOC 2 or ISO 27001, or a growing enterprise managing vendor risk, Vanta makes it quick, easy, and scalable. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. Get started at Vanta.com.
My name's Mackenzie, and I started a GoFundMe for the adoptive mother of a nonverbal autistic child. The mother had lost her job because she wasn't able to find adequate care for this autistic child. So she really needed some help with living expenses, paying some back bills. So I launched a GoFundMe to help support them during this crisis. And we raised about $10,000 within just a couple of months. I think that the surprising thing was by telling a clear story and just really being very clear about what we needed, we had some really generous donations from people who were really moved by the situation that this family was struggling with.
GoFundMe is the world's #1 fundraising platform trusted by over 200 million people. Start your GoFundMe today at GoFundMe.com. That's GoFundMe.com. GoFundMe.com. This podcast is supported by GoFundMe.
The biggest night in football is almost here. On Kalshi, you can now legally trade game day props, like will a quarterback win MVP? Yes is trading at 70%, meaning a $100 trade pays $140 if it hits. Kalshi isn't betting. It's a live market where you trade against other people, buying in or out as prices move. Download the Kalshi app, use code PODCAST, and get $20 when you trade $100. Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything.
It's the Steve and Kyle podcast, coming to you from a device in your grasp. It's a step below taking a nap, but why would you waste your time doing that podcast? If you're alone, download and listen on your cellular phone. Please sit back and then enjoy. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Thank you, Tony. Tony in Lansing.
It is high time that we
got to talk to Tony.
got on with Tony, either on his podcast or we have him on ours.
Yeah.
If for nothing else than just to ask, could he do what Shike does with his eyes closed and one hand behind his back?
There it is. 1 minute, 9 seconds in for a shot across the bow. Our good friend, not friend, Dan Shike.
Well, that idiot came at me on Twitter the other day.
By the way, we're starting now. This is the beginning of the podcast. It just seems like we're mid-conversation, which will be a bit of a trend that you'll notice in this podcast because we're talking to our friends Brian and Chrissy from the Commercial Break podcast. That one also starts completely out of the blue, as we talked about last week. We hopped on a Zoom with them, and neither of us really said, okay, let's start the recording now. We just, both of us hit record when we first connected, and that's kind of what you're going to get as the podcast.
Yeah, we talked about it quite a bit in last week's episode about how when we interview people or we're on other people's shows, we really try to make it just kind of like our show.
Mm-hmm. Conversation.
More conversation. I don't want a list of stuff. You're going to run into some byproduct where you and I kind of overtake here and there, but sorry,
it's just kind of how it is.
Yeah,
You can also see the video of the conversation that we had with Brian and Chrissy up on our YouTube channel. If you just go to YouTube, type in the Steve and Kyle podcast, that will be posted as this week's episode as well. And just kind of a little bit of a look behind the curtain. Yeah. See, there will be some stuff that's in the video that maybe you don't hear the audio of, just for one reason or the other, for editing reasons. But yeah, it was a great time. We talked to them about 2 weeks ago at this point, and hope to be doing that more often. Mm-hmm. We're going to be, Brian had reached out to me and said, do you guys want to do a show together, like a live show where we have listeners, and it's very interactive. It's using an app called Fireside. And I was like, heck yeah, we want to do that. So that's going to be coming up at some point.
Yes.
But we're going to be like playing games and stuff like that.
Something different.
Having some interaction with people that are listening and watching. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And there's never really any awkwardness for me doing these interviews and these appearances, just because, well, listen, worst case scenario, it's 40 minutes of you and I overtaking a show.
Yeah.
Best case scenario is it goes something like this, where it's a give and take and everybody seems to be laughing and having fun.
We did. We had a good time with them. They're good people that I hope we get to talk to them more often in the future, kind of create like a little bit of a thing between the two podcasts.
Yeah. Going back to the intro though, the highway is open in terms of, and I know we've mentioned this, of appearing on different podcasts and having other podcasts on ours. So if you know of one or you're part of one, again, I know we've mentioned it. If I read one more tweet or message from the brothers Humphrey, I'm gonna go jump off a deck.
Do they still off of a deck? So
well, yeah, I don't want to die. I don't want to hurt myself.
So you just want to be mildly, maybe have a little bit of a rolled ankle,
like a sprain. Yeah, that's how much having to read a tweet from one of the brothers Humphrey. That's what it does to me.
Do they still do the podcast? I
don't even know, because they posted on Facebook as soon as we had mentioned something last week, and he said you should appear on the
Let's do it.
Inside the, whatever it's called, Inside the Mind with the brothers Humphrey. Mm-hmm. I think they still record in an actual closet. Last we heard, though, like I think Jeremy had brain surgery and was
brain fell
and
out.
Was drooling while he was chewing on lumber or something like that. Steven was wiping up the brain goo on a daily basis wherever they live, and then he had to get out to his security job at the payphone.
They live together, right?
I don't know.
They have to.
I don't think so. They both have kids and wives, and
I know, but I still
you
feel
just
like,
assume it's a Brady Bunch situation.
I feel like they can't escape each other.
Their last episode was on July 9.
Oh,
the last episode before that was March 18.
That's a bit of a okay. So they're doing the quarterly episodes.
Oh, and you got as much content prep as they do, Steve. You really got to space those things out. Is what I'm assuming. So listen, Jeremy, Steven, let's do this thing again. Let's do the song and dance.
Try it again.
Send us a message with, if one of you can be inconvenienced enough to wake up at 10:30 to do 30 minutes of recording.
Yeah, I know. We're asking a lot here.
If it doesn't work this time, you can go to hell. But yeah, we need to get a hold of Tony as well. Tony Rodabaugh has his own podcast, and again, it'd be nice to talk to somebody who is talented with music for once in a while. Be a nice change of pace from who we normally have spoken to regarding music on here. Just shike. Guy comes at me on Twitter this past week because listen. It's my own fault, but Hot Take Summer was a delay this year. I forgot about it. I'd like to open up Hot Take Summer Memorial Day weekend, and I simply forgot.
I mean, why not? Look, we've created rolling decades, rolling centuries. 40 is late 30s.
Yes.
We do what we want on this podcast.
Yes. So Hot Take Summer was a late start, so I'm trying to make up with it with more hot takes on my Twitter at KPAFF3587. You can find them there. We're going to get a yearly, maybe a yearly drop in from you this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll do it at the end of the summer, which is, as everyone knows, Thanksgiving.
Yes. That's right. 4th of July to Thanksgiving is Hot Take Summer around here. And so my recent hot take, Steve, was that the EL Fudge is the #1 overall seed in any cookie tournament, and it's undefeated, never lost.
That's
the sandwich cookie, the 2 butter cookies with the chocolate.
Hold on, I gotta look up EL Fudge cookies. Yeah,
they're delightful. In terms of and listen,
I was thinking of something different though. What were the ones with the stripes?
Oh, the fudge stripes.
Is that
the
fudge
circles?
Shop.
Fudge shop. Yes.
Yeah.
So in terms and thank goodness nobody came at me with the local cookie boutique that's, you know, in the middle of a small town in Vermont.
No,
I'm sure your cookies are fine, but if I can't get them out of, you know, a 5-block radius.
I just had a flashback
Yeah.
to EL Fudge because my mom used to buy these, and I'd have them in with like my tuna fish sandwich when I would go to school. And as everybody knows, tuna fish does not have the staying power.
No.
When it sits in in between two pieces of bread in your little lunchbox,
right,
in an uncooled area, for hours because it gets made at 7 a.m. You don't eat it until 12. The EL Fudge, they'd be in a little Ziploc baggie. Take them out of the baggie. Of course, you break them apart like you would do with an Oreo. But EL Fudge, the fudge was thick enough, and it didn't mash into the cookie enough, where you could peel it off like a layer, and then you had a little elf-shaped fudge stripe that you could eat.
It's in terms of mass-produced cookies, it's the number one overall seed for me.
In stock, I can pick up today at Target, by the way. In stock at the local grocery store, Meijer.
I keep buying the normal size pack, and that's my own fault.
You're still, you haven't given them up.
Oh God, no. We have cookies in the house all the time.
You've been eating them consistently since your childhood?
I would say consistently, because when we'll go grocery shopping, we'll buy cookies because I love. I'm a huge sweet guy. Like my wife will go salty. She'll prefer like popcorn or chips or something for a snack. I'm always going to lean towards a sweet cookie, ice cream, whatever. So when we go to the store and we'll get cookies for to have, we'll get whatever's on sale typically, because I'm not a cookie discriminator. There's some I like more than others, like the EL Fudge.
Yeah.
But, if they're $3, the brand next to it's $2 for something else, I'll, save $1, get a different cookie. But the problem is I'm buying the regular size pack. And I just watch it in the cookie container just so fast dwindle.
So, they disappear.
It's time that I upgrade to the family size cookie packs for the EL Fudge.
All right.
I've got a family now. I can't be judged.
Exactly.
So if
You're a family man.
Yes. If I'm at the store, as long as I have my son, nobody can give me side eye when I'm buying the family size EL Fudge cookies.
Agreed. And I would not. No chance. Okay, so maybe next week we finally get to the long-awaited Cosmic Crisp taste test.
If we can find them.
And we wash it down with a couple of EL Fudges.
So we're just going to make it an eating podcast now, things we like?
Yeah. Is there any drink that you haven't had in a while that you want to have? I mean, we need to...
Ooh.
Because I have fond memories. Hopefully you're on board with this. I really hope. Because I feel like this is an unpopular opinion. Yeah. Loved chocolate milk when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Everybody did. It seems like, though, the majority of people liked the squeeze like syrup that you'd put in the cup and mix it up. I never liked that because to me it never broke up enough to get.
You're always getting chocolate chunk or something at the bottom.
I didn't like that. That's why I preferred the Nestle Quick powder that came in a drum. I
haven't had the powder in forever.
I feel like I bought it I know that I bought Nestle Quick powder in the time that I've known Annette. Within the last 7 years, I bought it. And I remember her thinking, what the hell is that? And then I had it like one time and it was phenomenal. And then I never had it again. And it ended up like expiring.
You mentioning that to me was like a light beam through my face level smile. I haven't had Nestle Quick powder in forever. We're not buying it on Amazon. Way overpriced. We will get this at the store, I think.
All right, so next week, then, our next episode, we are going to be taste testing the Cosmic Crisp.
Maybe, if we can find it anywhere. Again, I
EL
tried.
Fudge.
I mentioned last week. I searched 3 grocery stores for it.
Well, at this point, see, we're recording this way in advance.
Yeah.
We may already have some in our P.O. box. By the way, you can check the P.O. box in the description, in the show notes, if you want to send us something.
By the way, I'm so baffled right now. I just searched Amazon for Cosmic Powder.
No, different. Totally different thing.
I don't want Nestle Quick on my Cosmic Crisp apple. I need to be very clear. I can get dried Cosmic Crisp apple slices. That's not the same. Mm-mm. I'm telling you, man, these things are just non-existent. But yeah, so you want to do a little... So next week's the food cast?
Yeah. I think we need to put up on the poll, even though this is going to be posted on the poll like 3 weeks in advance, Nestle Quick Powder or Hershey's syrup, because I am a firm Nestle Quick Powder.
That'll be on the poll at Stephen Kyle, currently only on Twitter.
So I don't know, do we hold off any longer, or do we just get right into this?
Let's get right into it. I think we've delayed this overall long enough anyway, considering you started speaking to Brian in August of 2020, I think.
Yeah, 1 year ago.
And it ended up getting pushed off, because of my surgery and then some miscommunications and then a scheduling issue. So here we are finally, August 2021, able to talk to our friends, our new friends, and I'm happy to call them that, Brian and Chrissy from the Commercial Break Podcast.
Now, a little bit of context here. Again, we started recording this. We just kind of got on Zoom, and we were just going to chat for a little bit, and it turned into 45 minutes. So this starts. I just had to find a clean edit point, a clean spot to start it. So this starts with Brian from the Commercial Break talking about some of the stuff that he has learned in his days of podcasting.
Here's the one thing that I've learned about podcasting that I think is interesting. So, unbelievably, sometimes people hire me to help them grow their podcast.
Look at you.
And there's a guy that I work with. I won't mention his name because I'll just assume we're starting and we're talking to each other. I won't mention his name here on air, but he has about 6.5 million people on his collective social media. So he's an extraordinarily popular character on social media, but he can't get 3,000 of those people to listen to his podcast.
Really?
And what I've learned about podcasting, maybe media in general, I don't know. Podcasting is the only thing I've ever done in media, but maybe in media, is it doesn't always translate. You can have hundreds of thousands of people listening to your podcast and have literally 300 Instagram followers, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. You can have millions and millions of Instagram and Facebook followers and can't get a tenth of them to listen on a podcast, which just to me seems insane. You would think that if you were, you would think there would be some parity there. Like you would be able to take some of those people over into the next thing that you do.
You would think.
I think it's, that's why I think it's really impressive when some of these media moguls, they make albums and movies, and I'm like, wow, they're really doing it all very well, and we can't even get podcasting correct.
Well, we're no Paul Simon.
That's true. Speak for yourself. I was in a band called 33P.
That's right.
Like, just the differences between Facebook and Twitter. It's like those are two completely different user bases,
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Facebook is a cesspool.
And Instagram, too.
Facebook is a cesspool, and Twitter is the cesspool of which Facebook then drains into.
Yeah. So,
Facebook
is for old people, really old people now.
Yeah. Old people who just seem to be
That's what the young people say.
That's what the young people say.
Yeah.
I mean, you immediately date yourself when you say, when I joined Facebook, you had to have a college email. Because that is the most foreign concept in social media. Wait, they were limiting the people that could be on there?
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
This was no MySpace or Foursquare.
Yeah, right?
MySpace.
You had to what? What were you doing? I said you had to be in college to get on Facebook. What's that?
Were you guys on Friendster at all?
Were we on Friendster?
I did not have Friendster. I
might
did
have been on
MySpace.
Friendster. Yeah,
I had a Friendster. Yeah, I had a Friendster for probably a year or so. But by the time I joined, I was late to the game on Friendster. By the time I joined Friendster, it was like, oh, Friendster. Everyone's on MySpace now.
Yeah.
Everyone's on MySpace. I'm putting you in my top 10. Remember you had the top 10?
That was the golden age. If you look at Facebook, your mom wasn't on there. Your crazy uncle sharing memes that are now being fact-checked weren't there.
Yeah.
It was like 19-year-olds saying, hey, where's the party at? And getting legitimate replies. You didn't have to worry about walking into the depths of hell in terms of information.
Very true.
That's right. How Zuckerberg, I mean, I realize that he has no self-awareness whatsoever, but if he ever paid attention to himself, how he must look back on his life and realize that clearly the downfall of civilization lies directly at his feet in some small or large way, depending on who writes the history book.
Yeah, he's responsible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's consciously making these decisions, most of them, but clearly Facebook has just fucked up society in a way that's irreversible at this point.
You know who gets out of this unscathed?
Who?
Tom.
Oh, yeah, Tom from MySpace.
Tom with the white
Tom didn't do
T-shirt.
anything.
Tom right on the blackboard.
Yeah, had that side profile, and he made a popular site. They didn't, and I'm granted, I'm sure MySpace had its problems that I was too young or dumb enough to care about in terms of, hey, they were loaded with white supremacists. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. I was changing my 7th and 8th friends because I was mad at little Tommy for being mean to me that day. But yeah, Tom made his money. He got out. I have no idea what Tom from MySpace is doing.
Oh, dude. Tom from MySpace he's like an Instagram influencer now. He's an Instagram superstar because he sold MySpace for, I think it was something like $2 billion or something.
A lot of money.
To Time Warner, who then sold it like 5 years later for about $88 or something. But if you follow Tom on Instagram, all he does is travel the world with the most beautiful people, going to the most beautiful places, posting the most beautiful photos.
Good for Tom. Best to Tom.
Best to Tom. I feel like if Zuckerberg had taken the same road and sold to whatever, Twitter or whatever, whoever was offering to buy him at that point, Google, I feel like if he had just taken the money and headed for the hills, that we'd be in a much better situation because Tom really didn't fuck shit up on the way out the door. You're right. No. There were probably white supremacists on MySpace, just like they're on Facebook, but you didn't, I feel like the white supremacists, they really didn't feel, I don't know, they didn't feel so entitled to show them faces out in the public back then. Now Facebook just makes it all normalized. It's like,
come on in.
Yeah, fuck black people. Don't worry about it. Water's warm over here.
It's just,
because my crazy uncle thinks the same thing. Yeah. I just wish things were different. But we're never going to put that cat back in the bag. It's
genie's out of the bottle on that.
Social media will only get worse. And good, like you said, good thing for Tom because you got Zuckerberg getting a fresh, bang trim to go in front of Congress. You've got Jack Dorsey. You've got Jack Dorsey threading his beard to go in front of Congress. And Tom's on a yacht in the Caribbean.
Yeah, Tom's in Tahiti. Like, it's great to be me.
I wish we had some adults in charge of these websites because then I believe that they would understand. I think when we don't get into politics on our show because quite frankly I think the subject is boring. Everybody does it, and who cares? Who gives a shit? I don't know enough about
Nobody's
it.
Coming to us. Nobody's coming to us to say, I wonder what Kyle thinks about Joe Biden.
Wow, Brian really has some great political points of view. My political points of view are just as opinionated as everybody else's, so I don't get it. But like Trump or don't like Trump, I feel like we heard the words, I wish there was an adult in the room a lot when Trump was in charge, right? And I related to that sentiment. I feel like with social media, I wish there were adults in the room. Like, where are the adults in the room? Everyone just kind of, sell your information out the back door to some shady Chinese company? No problem. We got that covered. We'll do that.
Zero ramifications, too. And the fact that everybody looks at these, what 10 years ago would be the biggest story ever. Like the story that would be top news for 3 weeks, and now people read it and they're just like, meh. Oh well.
Yeah,
so
you're desensitized.
My identity was sold to whoever because Facebook left some loophole back door open, and now I'm just like, meh. I know it's going to happen. My identity is going to get stolen, and I'm going to get racked up with $3.5 million of credit card debt. But I'm just like, what am I going to do about it?
What am I going to do? I'm just yet another plebe that's going to... I mean, it's happening too. I'm in the cog. I'm a cog in the wheel. Nothing's ever going to change. I can't, whatever. We're all just sheeple, just following along with Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey's whims.
Are there podcaster MySpace Toms? Like, who was in early enough? Cash
Adam
their
Curry.
chips.
Adam Curry. Adam Curry was in, and then he got out. There are many podcasters. So I know, we've been entangling ourselves in the podcast industry, like the business side of podcast a little bit for the last year or so. And I know plenty of people who have sold podcasts. I know a guy who sold a meditation podcast for close to $1 million.
I just can't think of anything.
And then he started
worse.
Another meditation the guy who bought the original meditation podcast didn't think to put a no compete clause in there because I know. Focus on your anus. From your anus to your from your iris to your anus.
So he sold it and just said it. Here you go. Like, gave it away, essentially? He didn't have to do anything? He didn't have to still host it or produce it or anything?
No. I think the one thing that is interesting about another thing that's interesting about the podcast universe, there are many podcasters who sell their traffic. That's what they do. They grow their podcast, and then they hand it to the next guy, and the next guy takes over. Next guy or girl, they take over, and they essentially do the same show in front of the same audience. And that happens more than you think, and it's happening more often than we think. We actually know a couple people who have bought podcast RSS feeds. So they buy the 35,000 people a month. They essentially just step in their shoes. And 9 times out of 10, the old podcaster does not go with them. They just sell the traffic.
Meditation one is pretty easy.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, right? Yeah, but the guy went and he did another one, and now that one is bigger than the original one, and he is looking to sell that one on the open market for $3 million.
You should go back to the first guy he sold it for and sell it to him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the first guy's not doing too bad for himself either. He's got, I mean, he's got advertisements. I don't know how a meditation podcast works with advertisements, but he's actually and he's also got gated content. So they're selling both of those things. Mm-hmm. And so I think the first guy's pretty happy with the deal he made. I think he's making well over $1 million on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy with it. I would imagine he would be. By the way, let's take time out for an ad. Hi, it's Steve and Kyle here. If you'd like to purchase our RSS feeds for the low price of...
you put me on the spot 50, here because...
50 grand? I don't know. Is that fair?
I feel like honesty...
We get like 100 downloads every 6 months.
Yeah, honesty is key here, Steve. So if you really want to maximize that rural... 2-lane traffic that Brian just mentioned, we are the market for you. Do you want to be bothered by a Jake brake on an express or on a country road once every few weeks and get upset? That's our traffic.
That's us.
Okay,
that's us. That's our sweet spot. Well, listen, you're Van Wert's hometown #1 hometown podcast.
Yeah. The backstory behind that is we wanted to raise money so we could have one billboard. That was our goal. We wanted to go with the most outdated form of advertising, the rural road billboard.
Yeah, it was in between this and a bus bench.
So we literally put a map of the United States up on the wall. I threw a dart at it, and it hit the town of Van Wert, Ohio. And we said,
nice.
And from that point, the quest was on. We got in touch with an outdoor marketing company there. We spoke to a man. We said, we want one billboard. We want it to be up for 1 month. And I think it was $565.
Wow.
So we raised the money. We had an artist friend of ours claim or deem that we were Van Wert's #1 hometown podcast.
You probably are Van Wert's awesome. #1 hometown podcast.
And we had that printed, and it was up on a billboard for a month. And we still have, when they took it down, because it wasn't a digital board, it was the actual old school,
God.
like print.
Yeah.
And it's I think 11 feet tall by 24 feet wide.
Yeah, 11 by 22.
Shit.
And we said to them, when you take it down, we want the artwork. And they were like, what do you mean? We're like, we want that saved. So we made them peel it down carefully, pack it in a box, and send it to us. And we have it sitting in a box in the other room. So eventually,
it's called It's called the thing my wife hates most.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So when we, because the room behind us eventually is going to be our new studio, and we plan on cutting out each of our heads and kind of wallpapering them to the wall, because each head is like 7 or 8 feet tall. It'll fit perfectly on the wall.
So I'll tell you a funny story. So when we first
started, by the way, is this the
podcast?
Did we start? Are we going?
Yeah, we're started. We're going because we're just. I think the idea here is, and we can cut this part out, but I thought the idea here is that we do like 30, 40 minutes of content, and then we can insert that into our own podcast in the way in which we see fit. So I can imagine where I would be like, we had an opportunity to talk to Van Wert's #1 hometown podcast,
yes,
with Steve and Kyle, and then we can just go to the conversation. We we're kind of if you've listened to the show, it's kind of a quick edit, quick cut type show, like where I'll just randomly start somewhere. But when I first started the commercial break, we both have a marketing background. So I said, well, I'm not going to grow the show with my Facebook friends because they don't give a shit. The first rule of podcasting is your Facebook friends don't give a shit. They don't care about your fucking podcast. They will lie to you and tell you that they love it and they hate it because they never listen to it. They hate your voice in the first place.
Or they'll do that thing where they say, "Oh yeah, I haven't listened in a little while.
I gotta catch up on some old episodes." But I really love that. Remember that one episode where you were talking? I love that episode. That episode is great, right?
Yeah, but it's always preceded by that out of breath, like.
dead. So we get that a lot. We got that a lot at first, and understandably, the show wasn't all that good at first, like most shows. It's still not all that great. I'm not sure we have the bar raised all that much. But because of our marketing background, I said, listen, I know that if we want to be heard, we have to be found. Like, we can't see a podcast. No one's going to find us. It doesn't matter. So I was like, well, let's go invest in the podcast and spend some money to find our audience. And I actually went to a company called Blip that sells extra digital billboard
I remember you telling me.
And I went and I placed billboards in Los Angeles on Rodeo Drive and all this other stuff. The funny thing is we actually did get some traffic from that, but it was so fucking expensive. It was ridiculous. It was like we were probably paying $500 for it.
So we're getting a billboard in L.A. I was like, huh, okay.
That's one in Rodeo Drive.
Yeah, your sites were set a little differently than ours because I looked at Blip, but honestly, we thought for the money we had raised, it was too cheap. Because again, we were looking at billboard locations, and we would pull them up on Google Maps, and we would make sure that within earshot there was a farm, some type of wildlife,
a general store.
Yeah, I didn't want a strip mall or a busy road.
No.
Anything over 2 lanes or 2 lanes in a turn lane, and we were out because our price point was simply not going to line up there.
Yeah, we're not big city kids here.
Well, you just went for the big dog and attacked Los Angeles.
Well, I attacked Los Angeles with $15, so you buy impressions. How they even guess this shit, I don't even know. They have a counter out front. I'm not sure. But because it's digital, it's just easy for them to place in there. So I was on Rodeo Drive. We're talking like 3:30 in the morning for 26 seconds. And I was like, this is huge.
It stays up for 26 seconds?
I don't even know what it was. I'm just saying that they count impressions. I don't even know how they count that.
Per minute. They give you a certain portion.
Yeah, they give you like something. I don't know. Blip says you get the guesstimating these many impressions. But the truth is that, and you could on the Blip website, you can tell when the ads are running or when they ran. They give you a report. And I mean, we pressed Los Angeles, and it wasn't really Rodeo Drive came up once. It was like we got 4 impressions on Rodeo Drive, but
4 people drove by.
Mostly we were in South Central Los Angeles, where clearly our audience.
That market is hot for podcasting.
Those guys, they look like me. I can relate to those guys.
If I saw your 2 pictures on a billboard in South Central LA, I'm pulling the car over to download that podcast immediately.
You might be.
Yeah,
People
the
might
demographics are there. I think you're nailing everything you need right there.
That's right. That billboard was known as target practice,
right?
To take us down because they were like, we're getting bullet holes in it. You guys met on radio also, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually because I work for a radio show. I've been on the show for 12 years, and Kyle was one of my first intern, or like one of the first intern classes that I had once I started there, like 11 years ago, probably.
Yeah, it was 2010. So January 2010, he was my boss for about 6 months, and I parlayed that into the lucrative career of part-time radio work for the next 5 to 6 years before I realized that, man. If there's a media that's going after newspapers, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, we were there. We saw it. We know it, and we know how hard all those old codgers fought. I worked for Clear. We worked for Clear Channel on the business side. We actually just told the story on another episode, but I worked for Clear Channel on the business side. And I was in charge. I worked for Clear Channel.
You were in charge of people.
I was in charge of people. They made the ridiculous choice of putting me in charge. So we worked for Clear Channel, which had iHeartRadio at the time come out. And streaming was just being sold as an actual platform.
They were bundling it in.
They were bundling it in. They were saying if you buy 12 spots on air, you can get 12 streaming or 200 streaming spots for $1.
Like
added value. Added value. Yep.
You would not believe the pushback we got from anybody that was over 40 years old in the sales office. They, here in Atlanta in this cluster, they were like, internet, it's a fad. Fuck that.
They had assistants they were giving their contracts to, and they did not even want to think about selling something.
They had no idea what the internet was. They didn't want want to sell it. They because clearly radio. But we would get these stories from these old hoots, they were like, they would be like, you wouldn't believe it. Back in the 80s, I would sit here and the fax machine would just come in with $50,000 orders, and I would just literally put them in the in the computer, not in the computer. Yeah. I'd put them in the book and I'd run them over, and I'd make $400,000 a year just because of fax machines. Yeah. And I was like, but don't you think that maybe the internet is the way to go? Internet will never take over radio.
No,
never.
No chance. No chance.
Are you working for Clear Channel? Is that who owns your station?
I'm not. No, I do not work for Clear Channel. But it's funny because the position that I'm in, it's a talk show, so I'm not worried as much as I am about the rest of the industry. I think that radio as a whole for music stations, it's in a little bit of trouble because there are a million other options all on your phone right now. I feel secure because what we do is it's original content, and there's always going to be a need for original content, whether it's on the radio or on TV or streaming on the internet or a podcast or whatever. So I'm not worried. I'm not super worried about it. I just needed to hold on for like another 15 to 17 years or so. If I can get to 55, if I can make it to 55, I'd be thrilled. But going back to how Kyle and I met, we laugh because every year because obviously he started as an intern, we became friends, Facebook friends, and so every year it's on the anniversary. You know how you got the memories on Facebook?
Oh, yeah.
So it pops up every year where it's Kyle's like wet behind the ears, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed post that he posted the night before he started with the interning, and he said, "Well, everybody, tomorrow it's my first day as an intern. I want everybody to tune in and listen. Maybe I'll get to talk on the radio." And every year we look back at that and we think, young Kyle.
My misspent youth.
If I could just jump in my DeLorean, head back in time, and shake you a little bit.
Be an electrician, Kyle. Go to trade school, you idiot.
We all felt the same way. Right. It was exciting that the only reason why I got a job in radio is because I figured if I had no previous radio experience, Atlanta is the number 11 market in the country. You don't just walk on and get on the radio in the number 11. There are people that have been working all their life to get to the number 27 market. Just a show on there. So I knew I was under no delusion, but I figured if I could get inside the building, and be close to the studios, maybe there was a small possibility that someone would take a chance on me and let me in the studio at some point. And that happened at one point. And I did overnights on a classic country station.
Oh, nice.
The legend.
A small stick station, 96.7, the legend.
Legend.
And I called it.
I think like a huge cowboy hat was the logo.
It was, and my show is called Late Night on the Legend.
Just like Arby's. That's everybody's goal.
Everyone wants to be late nights on 96.7 The Legend, South Atlanta's favorite classic country station.
We did
reaching over 7,000 people, the local South Atlanta market.
We did like a fake Olympics because that was when the other Olympics were going on, Beijing.
Yeah, I was explaining earlier that when I begged the regional programming director to let me on, and for months he was like, "There's no way you work in the business office. If anybody ever found out, I'd be fucked. Like, I just can't even take the chance." And then finally, after I lubed him up a little bit, he was bothered by me. He was like, "Okay, listen, we have this small stick station down in South Atlanta.
Crappy, really crappy.
It doesn't it doesn't even reach the radio station. Like, we can't even tune it in here, right? So
that's right. It was in another part of town.
We couldn't even tune it in. It was on somebody's house. It was a stick on somebody's house. So he says, "Hey, listen, go in, do 2 to 5 in the morning." Do ins and outs, and then just, knock yourself out, kid. But if I hear one fucking word about this station, are you on it? You're done. I'm pulling you off. And so I walk in to the larger stick station, the 94.9 The Bull, the big, 40,000 watt bad boy, The Bull. It's a big, huge country station in Atlanta. And one of the afternoon jocks is teaching me how to work the station. And he goes, because they shared the actual studio, and he says, "There's one rule, and one rule only. 3 minutes only 3 minutes of talk for the hour. I don't care where you put it. I don't care how you do it.
Yeah.
It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
But did they tell you, because what they would normally do is they lube you up a bit by saying, look, we hired you because of your personality, and we love the way you talk, and we love your opinions, and we want to hear what you have to say, but do not talk for more than 12 seconds at a time.
That's right. No, they never lubed me up about anything. They were like, shut up. I lubed them up. Yeah. And so he said,
please get up here.
So he's like 3 minutes. So then, he lets me loose on the microphone, and I had a knack for it. Whatever. I was talking in between songs. Here's Dolly Parton.
Yeah, you were really
Rogers,
maximizing those 12 seconds into Garth Brooks' Thunder Rolls that you caught the attention.
I was hitting the mark. I was doing okay. I gave the weather.
In that 12 seconds, you have to ID in, ID out, give the weather, and talk about the charity pancake breakfast the next day.
9-6-7, the legend is giving away free Waffle House to the first 3 people that walk inside tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. 9-6-7, the legend. Okay, so the guy says 3 minutes. 3 minutes, right? That's his one rule. 3 minutes an hour. Blah blah blah. And I have a 4-hour block, like 2 to 6 or whatever, 1 to 5. And
you diligently stuck to that.
I stuck to it for at least 2 weeks. Until then, I was doing 40 minutes an hour. I was basically only leaving the commercials in, bumping all the music. And I did this for months. And I brought other people in. Chrissy came in. We would do bits. We would do segments and all this stuff. Until one of my friends, one of the guys on the show, I eventually got a sidekick too.
He's good.
And he made a joke about Sarah Palin during the election season.
Oh, that's what did it, I bet, right?
That's what did it, man. I'll tell you what. We got done recording at like 9 o'clock at night. So I would go after my office job. We'd spend 3 hours in the studio, and then we'd go have a beer somewhere. And so we got done at 9 o'clock at night. I think at that time we'd also started bumping the show up because I was like, no, it wasn't at 1 o'clock in the morning. Let's just start it at 10 o'clock at night because there was no one live on the station except in the morning.
Right, no,
and they
it was all automated.
Yeah, they were all being pumped out of Nashville. It was like, whatever, Ryan Seacrest Country Hour or whatever it was. And so I eventually started pushing the show up, and and then I had to go running right after we got out of the studio. So at 9:05, the 3 hours of talk would start. So we went for a beer, and my phone lit the fuck up. It was like, what the fuck? What are you doing? My phone's ringing. It's the program director. You're off the air. Go. I want you to go up to the studio and erase everything that you've done. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, oh shit. Well, they let me back on a week later. I continued to do the same shit. I didn't give a fuck.
That's an absolutely amazing story. One, because the fact that they let you on the air is amazing. 2, the fact that you were good enough to be on the air after, like, typically you go into now look, I work with many lovely people on the sales side and the business side of the office, but you walk in, they're not the most like dynamic
affable,
and savvy and conversational type people that they could do a radio show. So the fact that you not only did it, were confident enough in your own work that you bumped yourself up by a couple hours and deleted all the music. That's one of the most incredible radio stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, you're pretty close to being able to put on your resume somewhere that you were damn near a drive time radio show host.
Yes,
right.
Very close.
I don't know where I'd send it, but now I'm the top podcaster in all of North Atlanta.
Yeah, look at you. You've parlayed that into talking to us.
I've parlayed that into podcast gold. I'm pretty sure I'm the highest paid podcaster on this side of my street.
Yeah,
I'm making $2.15 an hour. Mm-hmm. So how long have you guys been podcasting? When is this? How long has the Steve and Kyle show been going on?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah,
wow, that's
5 years.
That's grandpa age in podcasting
and
years.
It's funny because we joke about it, but I look back when I was an intern in 2010. I did 2 podcasts while I was interning there because I just wanted an outlet to talk. I talked too much. I thought, hey, you're super funny. I'm not. I thought I need to get these thoughts out there. So I recruited a couple of other interns. So yeah, I was in this in 2010, not thinking anything of it. And then, stopped because we're 3 interns. We all go our separate ways, whatever. Until 2016, we decided to start it up again. So it was right around the time where we thought, couple middle-aged white guys. That's what podcasting needs.
That's what podcasting needs.
That's what was missing.
Yeah, that's
what was missing.
Yeah, nobody has an outlet. Like, people our age and our demographic, there's just no outlet.
Yeah, it's no outlet for a affluent white man to get his thoughts out there in the world. So that's why I started my podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw around the word, too heavily, but a bit of oppression, I think is the best way to put it.
I feel that I was. So I think it was one of you guys that said one of my favorite lines I've ever heard on a podcast, and I'm pretty sure I'm quoting one of you guys.
Oh, I hope so.
When
If
you
not, we're
said
going to
that
take credit for it.
podcasting is either two white girls talking about murder or two white guys trying to be funny. And was it one of you guys that said that one of your
That
episodes?
sounds like a you line.
That rings a bell, yeah, because
I
I've
think
had
you
a
said it,
recent,
yeah.
I've had a real recent spat with true crime and murder podcasts that I still find myself listening to them, but I find myself progressively more aggravated every one I listen to.
Yeah.
And I
Because
just can't get over it.
They're all carbon copies of each other.
Absolutely.
Is really what they are.
Absolutely.
They're all the same. It's somebody pulls up a Wikipedia of the Henderson murders from 1977 or whatever, and they just read it word for word, and they say, and then they went to the house to question the main suspect.
Yeah.
And
Can you imagine?
You hear the sound of car brakes squeaking, and then a car door opening and closing, and then the footsteps crunching in the leaves, and then you hear.
Yep.
We'd like to talk to you about what happened here in the 70s.
We'd like to talk to you about your murdered mother.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's just become this spat of, oh, well, hey, those two women, and I'm not going to name their podcast because they're gigantically successful, and they're both comedians, so they do humor for their job, and they're doing this on the side. Well, now every pair of white girl friends are like, well, we're just as funny as them. We should do the same thing, but we'll drink wine while we do it.
Yeah.
That's not a unique take.
Yeah, I stopped listening to all
at
this
some
because of that
point,
same reason.
At some point, originality. Listen, that's just the way I think the media is in general. It's impressions upon impressions upon impressions. Everyone's building off of somebody else's work, and only occasionally does something truly original come out that then everyone else goes and chases and follows. And podcasting is very much the same way. And let's face it, there's a ton of podcasts out there, but very few of them I would certainly not financially successful, but would consider successful. I think if you can make it a long time, like you guys have 5 years, right? If you can make it a long time, or if you can even make a little bit of money, then you should consider yourself a rousing success or if you have, traffic that you find that makes your ego feel good, right? Because that's the only reason why you should look at the downloads. It's if it strokes your ego.
Yeah, we got one of them. We've survived a long time. The whole money aspect of it. Actually, we have $100 sitting here.
That's
this
right.
is the first time we have ever made money off of this podcast, and it was because we sold an old piece of equipment on eBay or on Marketplace.
I heard your episode where you were talking about that. Yeah.
Did
the guy
have you
come over?
Have you guys never done spots on your show?
No, we've done nothing but bleed cash for 5 years. That's what we've done. We've had emails because we've never done anything formally. So what we've done is when we've mentioned it, we've had a few listeners who run businesses and stuff reach out, and then we promptly never reply because we're terrible business people.
Yeah. I like your style. Keep them wanting more.
Yeah. And
keep
so
them
we're just going to
wanting
keep them more. I think the 6-year anniversary is where we're going to start replying and start really nailing down those rates,
Yeah.
So no, we've talked about it. We're really adverse, and I think Steve puts it the proper way, is the second it feels like a job and it doesn't become fun, we're pulling the ripcord on this.
Yeah.
So we've only been doing this, and we've long joked with our listeners too. We're not doing a long, drawn-out retirement tour. If this thing were to come to an end because of a move or a job change or whatever, it would literally just end with us saying in the last few minutes, thanks for listening. We won't talk to you again.
Yeah.
And that's the music bet.
And then the Facebook gets deleted, the Instagram is deleted, Twitter is deleted, the RSS feed is pulled down, and we vanish from the internet.
Yeah.
Like you've
You
never
guys
heard
are
of
just
us.
gone. You're going to become the next thing that two white girls get drunk and talk about. Stephen Kyle.
Knock, knock,
Whatever
knock, knock, knock. We want to talk to you about Stephen Kyle.
I want to talk about the Lyle and Kyle show. It's Stephen Kyle, you asshole. Okay, whatever. I got a new podcast. It's called Where in the World Are Lyle and Kyle?
I want to talk
Get off my land!
I want to talk to you about your early incarnation because you mentioned that you thought when you look back at your early episodes, you think, hey, this probably wasn't very good. And we purposely avoid even thinking about our early episodes for that very reason.
Yeah.
But we very briefly toyed with the idea of naming our podcast tongue-in-cheek Living in Style with Steve and Kyle.
Nice.
And we even had some, because we have some listeners who are very talented. And you guys, I'm sure, have run into this, where you end up having listeners who are very good at art, at photography,
Yes.
at whatever. And we had somebody who deals with music and a couple people who still deal with music. They made us up some introduction music and some segment introduction music. The one thing that would have sunk this podcast in year one is naming it Living in Style with Steve and Kyle.
Probably. The reason why I named the commercial break is because I work in the commercial real estate industry, and my first iteration of this podcast, just in an effort to get behind a microphone and do something, which is what I had a passion for, was to talk about the commercial real estate industry. But I found that most of my clients who were building big condo towers didn't want, and it was also very boring. Like, I want to talk about commercial real estate 12 hours a day. Plus, you can imagine guys like Donald Trump, being talked about on air and all their business dealings.
Sure.
I imagine myself getting shot and having cement boots somewhere, Brian with his stupid. But when I went to then I decided to do the comedy chatcast with Chrissy. I was like, well, I guess the commercial break works because I couldn't.
Works.
Yeah.
Sure.
Chrissy and Hoadley.
You know what's
Brian
really funny
and
is if you're unceremoniously murdered now, you have an outside chance of making like kind of the outer realm of a news cycle. But had you kept with commercial real estate podcast,
yes,
that's not even making page 12.
Mm-mm. Not even making anything. Yeah, and I think the only reason why I would make the outside news circle is people celebrating death of shitty podcaster. No longer on my RSS feed.
We got another one gone, boys. Job well done.
His middling podcast was definitely middling. I do have to say, you guys have some activated listeners, though, because they reach out to us and tell us it's time to get on the Steve and Kyle show.
Well, that's because we fear confrontation, Kyle and I. So
you send your listeners out to do it?
So we send them out to do our bidding.
Yeah.
We say,
I think we actually have an Apple review that was like, I liked this show until they wouldn't go on Steve and Kyle's program, and they gave us 1 star.
Oh, no.
And I was like...
Oh, go back. Okay, whoever it was that did that, go back and change that. That's very...
You know what? No. You live with the choices you make, Steve, and Brian and Chrissy will now rue the day.
That's true.
We did. We
were like, well,
really
shit, gotta call
us.
Steve and Kyle back. But I will never forget. I will never soon
forget. We had the interaction with you guys early on, though, right?
Yeah, well, I sent him
because we were trying to target when we first started out.
We were like, let's do some cross promos
around our.
Yeah, we were looking for similar shows to do some cross promos with, right?
Comedy,
and so this is like we're talking about like a year and a half ago now.
This was back in. Well, I remember it was. I thought
May
it was like
June
October. Yeah, actually no, because originally it was probably in. Yeah. July or August or something, and then we kind of exchanged messages, and then
then everything kind of went sideways, and then we came back together at the beginning of the year, but then we still couldn't get on the same page until the last month. So I sent an Instagram to him, like a DM, like, hey, I've listened to the show, which I did. I listened to a number of episodes.
DMs,
I thought it was funny.
You totally slid into my DMs.
And he didn't. And he never responded until then. He responded one day, and he said, "Hey, listen to the episode that we just put together."
Right.
And I listened to the episode. And the entire episode is about you and me. They're literally going through the podcast, and I'll never forget this line. Kyle goes, "Well, they're good looking. Yep, good fucking looking people."
They've definitely gotten together before.
They've definitely hooked up. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, it's obvious to us. It's obvious to the listeners. We're just saying what the listeners are thinking.
We're like the Ross and Rachel of podcasts. Do they? Don't they? Will they?
You know what the magic of it is, though, and what I've really enjoyed that we've become over 5 years is early on, and I don't know how similar you guys are in terms of game planning. Early on, we'd kind of have a few bullet points that we wanted to get to and know, hey, we want to talk about this. Never really a news story because we don't want to make anything super topical. Because if somebody starts this in 2023, they're not going to care about the hot news story of August 2021. So we've taken to no planning. Yet we get a DM, or he gets a DM on his personal Instagram from you, Brian. And we got about an episode worth out of it, so thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the show prep.
Yeah, we do the same thing in some circumstances. Like I do quite a bit of show prep just simply because the show has become one of two things. Either it's Chrissy and Brian talking about something interesting to them, either, life topic, something event we've gone to, Mark Cuban's dinner, whatever. Or number two, I find oddities out there on the internet and I play those. Yeah, and I play those clips.
Or we'll do games too.
Yeah, we'll do games too, which end up there. So listen, I got a few more minutes, but I wanted to ask you a question. So in all the years of your podcasting, do you, and so you're not making money except for the $100 you made on the thing. Do you guys still
on the selling of equipment?
The selling of equipment.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to count this just a minute.
Yeah, feel free. Just if you want to count it twice and make it look like $200,
just continue talking. He'll be here a minute.
Do you guys still, do you get a lot of engagement from your listeners? Do you get a lot of people that reach out to you and talk to you about
decent
the
amount,
show?
Yeah,
we do okay.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have massive social media followings by any means,
right?
But yeah, I mean, we do. It's something that we kind of stumbled into in the last year or so. It's we typically record on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, and our episodes go live on Tuesday morning. So inevitably, at least 5 times an episode, we get into some debate about something, and we say, put it on the polls. And we type up a poll on Facebook and Twitter. And unless you're in the room with us when we're recording, it is 100% out of context. There's no way that you could possibly understand it. And we still get, before the episode even goes live, we have 50 to 100 votes on it, on something that's gibberish.
Nice.
Like we could post something like, peanut butter or rocks, and we'll have 100 votes with people passionately arguing peanut butter or rocks.
Yeah, more disturbing is that we'll get votes for rocks there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's how I imagine a poll going on the Steve and Kyle show. Ready? Steve and Kyle are talking about how he just bought a chicken, and the chicken is laying eggs, and Steve goes, well, do you pay the chicken for the eggs? And Kyle goes, I don't pay the fucking chicken for the eggs. Why? And he goes, you're fucking the chicken, man. You are fucking the chicken. The chicken is getting fucked. And then they put out a poll and says, do you fuck chickens? And it's like, I do. I do fuck chickens. Yes, I do.
Yep, you got it. That's the Think Lab back here. Yeah. This is where we come up with all the great ideas.
The consortium.
The brain.
The brains of the
nerve center.
The nerve center.
We did a show.
There's many roads. They all lead to fucking chickens.
I couldn't agree more. So the other thing that I wanted to say is that do you guys still really enjoy getting in a room together and doing the show? Do you guys do it every week? Do you record every single week?
Yeah, every week. We've missed. The only time we missed an episode since episode 6, we ran consecutively until I had my heart surgery in November, where we missed a month. So that was 250 episodes we did in a row without missing one.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, I wouldn't have, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have missed those 4 weeks. I'd have been here if I had a different co-host.
Yeah.
It's just,
what happened to your heart? Now I got to follow the follow-up question.
He fell and got a boo-boo.
It is, it's a long-winded story. I ended up having to have open heart surgery at the age of 33 last November.
Wow.
That's why we ended up having to cancel with you guys on somewhat short notice, because it all came about within about 2 weeks, where I was diagnosed and then under the knife and in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. So that's the only reason we've had a delay is because of that. So
we can excuse that.
No,
open heart surgery is one of those things.
Don't be polite.
But no, I would say after 5 years, I would argue we're still having as much fun, if not more, than the first time we sat in a room together and recorded a podcast.
Because if we weren't sitting in front of a microphone, we would just be sitting at a bar or a restaurant. Yeah, just BSing. Yeah. So we may as well stick a microphone in front of us and record it. It may not be the most entertaining thing, but I mean, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it every week. And that's going back to what Kyle was saying earlier, is like once this starts feeling like a job, like I already have a job that I work hard at, and I don't want to feel stressed about anything. So once I start feeling stressed about this, pulling the plug, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Well, this has been interesting, sharing some content and some time at a long-awaited meeting between the commercial break and Steve and Kyle. You can now stand down your listeners. SteveandKyle.com is where you can find them. TCBpodcast.com is where you can find us. And I think we should do this again. I actually wish I had scheduled in more time, because I feel like we could probably do an hour or more. Because you guys, we essentially, at the end of the day, we're doing almost the exact same thing, right? We're having shows about nothing. Whatever comes out of our heads, all of a sudden we just put it on celluloid, and there it goes out to the world. I do find you guys funny. I do listen to your podcast.
Thank you very much. We do the same thing.
It's one of the first podcasts when I started podcasting that I picked up on, that I was like, oh, those guys are kind of like us. Like they're doing a similar type podcast, and they're funny.
It was finally you that made us get new artwork. I've been listen. Full disclosure. I've been embarrassed by our work since day one.
I mean,
I hated it. It was Steve took 2 photos of us individually, and he claims spent hours on an iPhone 6 at that point, using cartoonizing these photographs. And then 2 years later, phones literally have a cartoon filter that would have done that in a fraction of a second.
Swipe. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Done.
So when all of this started coming down the pipe, where we were going to talk to you guys, and we're looking at your social media and your website, I'm like, God, ours looks like such shit.
This awesome logo. They've been around for like a week. What the hell?
Yeah,
I know.
It's vintage.
Well, you can thank my wife for that. She is much younger than I am. Pat myself on the back, and she is, and that's the least interesting thing about her. She is wonderful at all our social media and design. She does all that stuff, all our Instagram, and she's done a good job. Listen, we had 100 Instagram followers in like March, and now we have 800, which is nothing, but it's still better. Better than what we had.
That's a heck of a growth rate,
attention to it. Astrid said, you got to get on social media.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
Can we do this again?
Absolutely.
We should check in. Maybe like once a quarter, we should make it a plan to get on and just do some content together that we can both share on our own episodes.
That would be great. And then once our listener forces have combined, we'll do a massive live show for. I'm seeing in my head at least 15 to 20 people showing up for that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Van Wert.
We
need to go around to Van Wert.
We'll show you all the sites.
Get you a tour of Van Wert. Wouldn't it be incredible if we could at some point go and do a live show from Van Wert and like book out 1,000-seat? They probably don't have 1,000-seat venue. Make 1,000-seat venue.
Yeah.
We'll go do some field somewhere and just stick a table up there, and the 4 of us can go. Van Wert's Van Wert Fest.
We got the billboard artwork done. We'll just slap your names and faces on there too.
Sweet.
And get them to reprint it. And I'll tell you what, you guys can keep that billboard copy because we already got our own.
That's right.
Wow.
You're welcome.
I'll send you my billboard copy. It's electronic
plan.
format. Rodeo Drive. Steve and Kyle, it's been nice to spend some time with you. I'm glad that we got an opportunity to get together after this 1.5 year long back and forth and all of our miscommunications and communications. And thanks so much, guys.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, guys.
I kind of feel like, Steve, that the billboard story for us, I think everybody has a go-to.
Yeah.
And that's not like... That's the first time on a different podcast we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But that's a good story.
It is a good story.
That's a really good story to tell different podcasts. That'd be a really good party story, too. Like a get-together story.
Because people that listen to the podcast obviously know that story from a couple of years ago. But yeah, I like telling it to new people who aren't as familiar.
In my mind, that would be our version of, you see it in movies with college people and they're all gathered on the beach around the bonfire. One idiot's got the guitar that nobody wants to listen to.
Yeah.
But you and I get center stage to regale the audience with the time we crowdfunded a billboard in
$500 billboard
on the border of Indiana and Ohio.
Yes.
In Van Wert.
So that was a blast talking to Brian and Chrissy. I would definitely recommend you check them out. It's tcbpodcast.com and just The Commercial Break on Facebook and Instagram if you want to follow along with them. Give them a follow, give them a like or whatever. Comment on their stuff. Tell them that the Steve and Kyle podcast sent you. It's always good for the relationship. And hopefully, like I said before we played that, Brian had asked if we wanted to do like a live event with them where we played some games and did some crowd interaction stuff. And I definitely want to do that. So we are talking to them about that. Hopefully, that's something that will happen in the next couple of months. I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I always look forward to collaborations like that. And as you heard, and Steve mentioned, reaching out to them and mentioning the Steve and Kyle podcast, that's kind of what rekindled what had become kind of a forgotten meeting that was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
so
we sent our team who strong-armed them.
I believe we sent the brothers Humphrey went their way.
Yeah.
Knuckles cracking from afar and everything.
Yeah, of course they had sunglasses on, like the wraparound shades.
Yeah.
Probably a bandana, arms crossed, looking like tough guys,
Right.
looking like the tough guys that they are, and made it happen.
Yeah, they did. So thanks to everybody who does that and engages. Anytime we mention a different podcast, that's always outstanding and very helpful. Thanks again to Brian and Chrissy. Again, tcbpodcast.com.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully more of that in the future.
Yeah, that would be nice. I like having these relationships with other people on podcasts, and when we say it, we mean it. Like I'm not blowing smoke saying, hey, I want to talk to you again, later on this year, to John Walzak and Ben Kubrick and whoever else. I like building these relationships and having these interactions.
Absolutely. It's tcbpodcast.com again, and The Commercial Break on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow along with Brian and Chrissy and everything they're doing at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I think that's it, right? Hopefully next week we do the Eat Cast.
Hopefully we're going to have to remember, but yeah, it's apple time, cookie time, powder,
chocolate milk time.
Oh my God.
Do we want the taste test between the powder and the
I just want to make
syrup?
this pure joy. I just want the quick powder.
All right, sounds good. I'm putting it on the grocery list, so my wife will be like, why do we need Nestle Quick Powder?
Just another eye roll as she's shopping.
Okay, it's got to be whole milk too, right?
I don't want skim. I mean, I'm not drinking white water.
I need it to be my childhood.
Yeah. I
got almond milk upstairs.
I want one step below creamer in my mouth with
gonna
powder.
Make us barf. We're both going to barf because of it.
We're going to roll out of here with stomach issues for 2 days because we're too old.
All right, at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.
Sleep and relaxation just got smarter. The Zecliner by FlexSteel combines comfort with durable design, featuring custom adjustments like headrest, lumbar, heat, and massage, helping you unwind the right way. Whether you're watching TV or taking a well-earned break, Zecliner is built for you. Comfort, customization, and FlexSteel quality all in one chair. Visit Zecliner.com to find a retailer near you.
Mamá, quiero el iPhone nuevo.
Yo también quiero uno.
¿Sabes qué? Con Verizon nos llevamos 4 iPhone 17 sin intercambio.
Todos vamos a estrenar iPhone.
Y yo termino ahorrando.
Con Verizon, tu familia disfruta más por menos. Llévate 4 iPhone 17s y no se necesita intercambio con 4 líneas nuevas en ciertos planes Unlimited. Visítanos o habla con un representante en español al 844-464-8796. Se aplican términos adicionales para las ofertas. Visita Verizon.com para detalles.